DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
What's up, Delaware and beyond, and welcome back into DETV Sports. Another Monday evening here in Wilmington, Delaware. Nick Alessandrini alongside Jason McCall and Matthew Maurer, as always. And as I mentioned, we're in the Wilmington studios. It's looking a little festive here now, fellas. We are into the month of December. Christmas now is, you like to say, just around the corner. We'll be here before we know it, but it is looking good. So a shout out to Dennis, Ivan, and everybody for putting this together. It feels good to be in a festive studio, Jason, as we welcome you in on Monday.
We got Christmas trees and poinsettias and all kinds of toy soldiers and
that time of the
else
year
around here. It's looking pretty festive. I'm in the spirit now, but in the gift that keeps on giving, you know, the Eagles giving away games. So, you know, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I wouldn't have the show start any other way as we now welcome in Matthew Maurer, who had a fantastic intro last Monday following the San Francisco 49ers win over the Eagles. Matt, what do you got for us today?
Well, as I drink these Eagle fans' tears,
Sip.
okay, let me start off with this. So the Bucks, Niners, Ravens, Eagles. 3 of these teams belong together. 3 of these teams are kind of the same. But one of these teams are doing their own thing. Now it's time to say their name, and that is the Eagles. Because the other 3 I named got that dub, ate that dub. We ate the dub. What happened, man? What's going on?
I'll tell you, this was
Eagles, die.
I would say coming off of last week, we might as well. Let's just jump right into it here. A quick intro. We'll talk about the NFC playoff picture, the AFC playoff picture, some big wins for teams yesterday. We'll talk about the NBA in-season tournament, which wrapped up on Saturday.
Who?
We'll touch on that. And then Monday Night Football tonight, guys. 2 big games, or I should say 2 games, are on tonight here on ESPN and ABC. But you heard Matt, you've heard Jason, so let's just dive right in and talk a little bit about the big one yesterday, Fox's game of the week, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, this time in Dallas as the Cowboys get the win at home 33-13. Pretty much in control of this one throughout the ball game for Dak Prescott and company. Cowboys finished 9 of 16 on third down for 394 total yards in the game. Dak continued to play probably as best as he's played in his career. Throws for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. The efficiency, though, is the big thing standing out for Dak Prescott, at least through the last 5 to 6 games of the year. The Eagles struggled offensively, and as we know, especially defensively in that game, they give up 33 more points. And Dallas probably could have hung some more yards on them if they needed to, but they had this one wrapped up not early, but into the second half. So the Eagles, 3 turnovers in Cowboys territory yesterday. We had a couple of touchdown drops. We saw Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown both drop big plays down the field. Eagles drop another one, fellas. San Francisco, they take over that top spot. Dallas now moves into the lead in the NFC East. 4 games to go. A lot can still happen. These teams all jammed at the top of the NFC. But let's just focus strictly on the Eagles here. Matt, what did you see in that game yesterday between the Cowboys and the Eagles? And let me ask this, though. I think I might already know the answer. Yeah. Which team do you think is a bigger threat to the Niners going forward?
Oh, it's still the Eagles.
Okay.
It's still the Eagles.
At least you're not totally off the wagon.
No, it's still the Eagles. I think Eagles, I will say this, they're in a dangerous situation because right now the pressure's on. They've been coasting. They got lucky in some games. And look, luck's a part of football. I get it. I'm not poo-pooing it, but bad habits in the NFL have a way of catching up to you. And they've had some bad habits past couple games that they were able to get away with. But I will say this. That boy might have been named Dak Prescott, but I'm going to call him Dak Diggler because he's out there slinging. Let me just tell you. Boy, slinging. Can we be honest?
Can we be honest? That might be pause-worthy?
It's definitely pause-worthy, but let me tell you something. That man has been playing like he's in Boogie Nights every game because let me tell you something. He's probably a threat. I would say him, Lamar, and Purdy are probably the threats to make the MVP. Yeah. Look, Philly fans are going to hate this, but I don't think Jalen Hurts has a chance at this point now. He just hasn't looked very good. And look, this is the weird thing about Jalen Hurts. He had all this pub as being a guy that can escape out of the pocket and extend plays. I ain't seen that. I've seen a guy he kind of reminds me of like when McNabb was trying to be that guy that sit in that pocket and prove that he's a pocket QB. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know if it's, I know he's been limping around with that knee. I don't know what it is. I just haven't seen Jalen Hurts be explosive, and I think a lot of that has added up to what we've seen the past couple of games.
Jason, that's something me and you talked about before the show today. That knee just doesn't look the same. No excuses. You got to play better than what he showed yesterday. The Eagles got to be better as a team. They did not show up for that game in Dallas yesterday. Took some hits. You can kind of see him get up from a few of those. He's not the guy to talk about injuries or anything like that, but you could tell maybe he's just a little bit gimpy there. The knee bothered him a little bit. But what stood out to you in that game yesterday?
I just want to shh. If y'all listen very, very carefully, I think you can still hear the rat pissing on cotton on Broad Street right now. Because it's so quiet right now with the Eagles fans. Had to get that out the way. But to be honest, it might be time to put the Eagles in the same category as we put the Detroit Lions in. They might be FRAUDS for this season.
And let me stop you there for a second in terms of, and what does that, you're saying like non-Super Bowl contender?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, as Matt alluded to earlier, some of your earlier wins were like skin of your teeth wins because the Eagles could have easily been sitting at 7-5 going into yesterday's game. Because if you look at this schedule, if we're going to be honest, both of the Washington games probably should have been losses if things go a different way. Yep. The Bills game, like, there really haven't been any real standout victories to me. Now, a win is a win. So 10-3 is nothing to sneeze at. It's still top record in the league. I think there's like 4 teams that are 10-3. The Ravens being one of them on the other side in the AFC. So it's not nothing to sneeze at, but your games haven't looked convincing all year. Mm-hmm. And there's been struggles with the offense anyway. And now the defense is starting to fall apart a little bit. So if you already were trying to do patchwork things on offense, now the defense is starting to slide a little bit. You can't have both go awry at the same time. You're scoring points, but at the same time, you're not stopping people from scoring points. But the last 2 games, you were held under 20 points. Something has to give. And I don't know what. Like, I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's injuries, but something has to be accounted for, and it has to be accounted for quickly, or else you might be staring at a first-round exit instead of a championship round or further, just based on what you're seeing right now.
And again, one of the things that we talked about coming into the season that didn't worry me as far as the offense I thought would be able to get it together. They would be at least average to above average coming in, even with the loss of Shane Steichen. I think that's the first thing to highlight is that loss of both the offensive and the defensive coordinators. We sat up here before the season started, and we highlighted how losing both of those guys would affect this team coming into this year. And I really didn't expect it to affect them as much offensively without Shane Steichen, with Brian Johnson, who was there last year. It's no Jalen Hurts since high school. But we can see things aren't coming as easy for this Eagle offense as it was last season. There aren't guys, getting schemed open. The schematics have kind of been thrown out the window. We're seeing what Shane Steichen is doing with the Colts. He had them in playoff contention still now in a wild card spot last week with Gardner Minshew playing all but 4 games this season. I think the loss of Shane Steichen was huge, but as we talked about, the defense is the big thing. Coming into the season, that was the question mark. They lose 7 starters on defense. 7 starters. We talked about they would be able maybe to fill some of those gaps. They haven't done that as well. And when you lose 7 starters and you thought some of the guys you had coming back were your strong points, right? You had 2 stud corners last year that were ranked in the top 10 of overall corners in the league with Bradbury and Slay. Those 2 are not even close.
Stud where? Stud.
Last year they were top 10 corners in Pro Football Focus last year.
Crazy.
Bradbury never been no stud.
Do you guys remember last year?
I don't care about PFF.
Talk about
Pro Football Focus.
recency bias. What do you mean their defense was fantastic? They went to the Super Bowl.
Bradbury ain't never been labeled a stud ever in his life.
That's a fact.
Bradbury's never been
only by his mom, probably in the house. That's about it.
My
Maybe his
goodness.
wife.
Last year, both of them, they've had great careers. Both of them have been Pro Bowlers throughout their career. Slay more so. Even last year, for you to say he's not an above-average cornerback last year, Bradbury?
He's not.
Well, let's be honest about Slay for a minute. That man is looking real,
right now,
real
pedestrian.
pedestrian out there.
And that's being kind. And
He
again,
ain't
it's
got
not
no
only that,
wheels.
but you got the issue with the fans part of it is he's not showing that emotion. Right? He's laughing, he's smiling on the sideline. He does the podcast, during the week.
'Cause he
Doesn't seem
cooked.
to be affected.
Because he
seem to be
cooked.
affecting him
He
too
know
much.
he cooked. These players know when they cooked.
And
He
would you
cooked.
say he's playing the worst corner of Philly since Nnamdi S. Zamar.
Exactly.
ASS is
Big play
relative.
Slay, more like payday Slay.
and again,
because anybody lean up against him, they getting their money.
And I'm with you guys there. I think this year they've been awful, but I'm just saying there's such a difference last year to this year.
No, it's a big drop-off.
When you
It is.
when you look at when you lose 7 starters, you think, okay, we lost 7 starters, but at least we've got our Pro Bowlers coming back on the
Appreciate
outside.
Hargrove, though.
And they haven't been Pro Bowlers. So when you're going to lose 7 starters and you keep that core together, you need that core to be strong, and it hasn't. It has not been strong defensively for the Eagles. Offensive line is another thing I wanted to point out quickly. The last 3 or 4 weeks, Lane Johnson with that injury, Jason Kelsey starting to show a little age, dare I say now. The last few weeks, that offensive line is being beat at the point of attack, and that's something we haven't seen from them in the last 4 or 5 years. I think Dallas was all over Hurts yesterday. Matt, you talked about the ability to get out of the pocket, or he may be banged up. Didn't see that escapability out of Jalen Hurts. That defensive line from Cowboys was there all day long. They had him on the move. They gave him pressure. The Niners did the same thing. And now we'll have Dennis's question of the week. With that being said, what is the biggest problem with the Philadelphia Eagles? So I had a few things to share there. What do you guys think in terms of coaching, schematics, injuries? If that's something, what do you guys think is the biggest problem with the Eagles right now?
I think you can mask some deficiencies in players with scheme. So I'm going to say at this point right now, it's schematics. It's coaching. It's play calling on both sides of the ball. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago. You never get Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown going off at the same time. It's always one or the other, or it's Swift doing this thing. There's never a cohesion where they're all eating at the same time. Then on defense, y'all got to start playing cover 2, cover 3, something, because
Well, I don't know if they can play man.
your corners are getting toasted. And C.D. Lamb had a field day yesterday. I mean, even the stuff he didn't catch, it was just like, okay, he's getting past everyone.
And I think the big part to your point there is 9 for 16 on 3rd down. And when they needed it, they got it.
Yeah.
And I think they made it look easy yesterday.
So that I would say is scheme. I can't say it's the actual
I agree
players.
with you, though. Yeah, I'm with you.
I would say it's more scheme because it just doesn't look like they're grasping concepts right now. And it's too late in the year to not be grasping concepts.
And again, we talked about at the beginning of the year, right? Those 2 coordinator positions. I know you and Jason both highlighted as myself. It's going to be different. It's going to be tougher. But how will they do? The schedule last year was one of the easiest in the league. It showed they beat everybody and they made it look easy, as you talked about, Jason. They beat everybody by 30. They played bad teams. This year they get a division winners record after winning the NFC East. They got a way tougher schedule and just still seem to be struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest problem with them is time. There's 2 ways you want to go into the playoffs. You either want to go red hot, where you're starting to gel and everything's coming together. You're getting those wins, those hard wins, or you emptied the whole clip in the first half of the season, and now you're limping towards the end. To me, that's the biggest problem. And look, no one wants to talk about it, but I think if things continue to go the way they're going, you're going to ask Jalen Hurts to do some things that he's never done before, and that is a problem. Like I said it before here, and people kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. Like Jalen Hurts ain't never really had to take the team on his shoulders and take him to victory. Like people can say that, oh, yeah, he's got 1 or 2 games. Nah, it ain't the same. He ain't never been that pressure cooker like a Lamar Jackson or some of these other guys where like, yo, it's me that has to make us go. It's always he's got a couple guys, he can hit a couple slant routes, guys to get going. What you're seeing now is teams are like, well, go ahead. Do what you got to do. Because we're going to double A.J. Brown, and we're going to make Devontae Smith beat us, and you got to – and look, and the unsung guy that I think is the biggest part that the Eagles miss the most, and look, people are going to be like, what?
It's Miles Sanders.
Yes.
I said that. It's
They
Miles
have
Sanders.
nobody that can fill that
Miles
West
Sanders.
Coast back pass-catching ability like Miles Sanders did for them. Miles Sanders saved them a lot last year in plays. Swift, as great as he is as a runner, and he's way more talented runner than Sanders is, he ain't got the pass catching chops that Sanders has. Not at all.
And again, I'm with you there to another point of mine. I think DeAndre Swift could. To me, it's the usage, and we talked about schematics. If Swift was the running back last year in that offense with Shane Steichen, I think we'd be having a whole different conversation. We're obviously talking about Brian Johnson now in his first year as the offensive coordinator, and Swift was very effective at the beginning of the year. They've gone away from him, in my opinion, for some reason that I don't seem to understand. When you look at his game logs here, 11 rushes last week, 6 against the Niners, 14 against Buffalo. Beginning of the year, he had 28 carries against Minnesota on Monday Night Football.
Can I just put a little bit of evidence on that? I think some of that is because of the fear that if we give him too much work, we ain't going to have him for the playoffs. Whether anybody wants to talk about this, they got Swift at a discount because Swift can't stay healthy.
That's a great point.
He can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
and the Lions have one of the better before people jump, Lions have one of the better O-lines. He's been injured there. So he gets injured. He just does. That's the style of game he has as a player, and maybe they're trying to save him. I don't know. But at this point, the way they're going, they're going in tough Seattle. And look, them in conference games are always a little tough. The in division games, I don't know if they're going to walk away with the Giants unscathed. So like they got some fights. And look, the Cardinals, as much as we trash them, as much as people talk about them, I mean, look, Murray can come out and he can have a game. I mean, it ain't crazy to say.
They beat the Cowboys with Josh Dobbs this year.
Correct.
So they can do it, definitely capable. Yeah. DeAndre Swift hasn't ran for 100 yards since week 3, and they did it weeks 2 and week 3. So, again, they've gone away from the run.
Typical DeAndre Swift, though.
And, again, the offensive line. But just to make one more point before we move on from the Eagles, we'll talk about the NFC playoff outlook kind of as a whole here shortly. But as you were talking about Jalen Hurts earlier, Matt, and that's another thing that stands out to me is he is at his best, and the offense is at his best when they are playing with the lead. This year they have been playing from behind. They've gone down early. And, again, he's at his best in that RPO game. Am I going to hand it off? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to throw? When you keep that defense off balance, when you turn him into a drop-back passer out of the shotgun and you're running 4 receiver sets and emptying things out for him, you're, again, giving that defense a leg up on Jalen Hurts and making him just a passer. That's not when he's at his best. And I think that starts with the run game. They've been got to get back to the run. They got to put points on the board early, and they got to stay in games early and get an early lead for them to be at their best. They haven't been able to do anything like that in the last few weeks. But as we talked about, San Fran went through a tough stretch this year where they lost a few games in a row. We'll see if the Eagles can regroup. Again, the final 4 games, we'll talk about it here as we talk about the playoffs. Easiest schedule in the NFL the rest of the way for the Eagles going forward. Now let's jump to the NFC South before we talk about the playoff look as a whole here. How about this South Division? And, Dennis, you got to love it. Everybody tied, or 3 of the 4 teams tied atop of the division with a record below 500 at 6-7. Excuse me, you got the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Saints all going at it, battling for that playoff spot and that division championship, all with pretty easy schedules the rest of the way, considering they play each other and other division members. Atlanta, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, guys, who do you got winning this ugly NFC South?
I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to have to say it and get this out the way. I believe in Mike Evans too much to see Tampa Bay lose this division. Tampa Bay's going to win the division. I'm a firm believer in Mike Evans. All he does is just go for 1,000 yards every year, 10th year in a row, only behind Jerry Rice for most consecutive 1,000 yards all time.
Crazy underrated statistic. It really is.
And the Bucks just seem to, when you count them out, when they kind of rise up, to steal the quote from the Falcons' old slogan, "Rise up."
That's right. Yeah, rise up.
But I don't trust the Saints, and Atlanta is iffy every other game. So I'm going to go with what I know. I know with Old Reliable, Old Faithful. I've seen Baker Mayfield win a playoff game before. I haven't seen the other 2 quarterbacks win a playoff game before. So I'm going to stick with the Bucks to win that division. It might be at 7-10, but somebody win the division.
That's all that matters, win the division.
Yeah.
Matt, what are you thinking? This is an ugly one, but we'll talk about it here. Did you have the Bucks in the beginning of the year as well, Jason?
I think I did.
I don't remember. I know I had the Falcons, but we're all in the mix for all we chose, with the Saints also being included in there as well. Where are you going here, Matt, with your division winner in this ugly NFC South?
Going with the Carolina Panthers. They ain't going to be the winner because they might be able to get Teddy 2 guns. But no, seriously, no. Tampa Bay. I got to pick them as well. I mean, I just think I don't think Baker's very good at QB, but they got so many good pieces there that I think they can help pull him.
He can finagle a few.
Yeah, he can finagle a few things. So, yeah, give me Baker, man. I think Baker. I have more faith in Baker than I do Desmond Ritter. I have more faith in Baker at this point than I do Carr. It's just.
I do. I like Baker both, and those two guys you just said. I like that Atlanta defense a little bit better than the other defenses as well going forward. I'm going to stick just because I took them at the beginning of the year from worst to first last year, so I'm going to stick with Atlanta. They got the easiest schedule out of the teams remaining. This is honestly a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Atlanta. Who knows who's going to be playing quarterback the next few weeks? Is going to be Heineke. Maybe we'll see Heineke again. It's going to be interesting, but the Falcons probably going to need a quarterback shopping here going forward for Atlanta. But
might see Matt Schaub.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they could use him. They could use some Matt Schaub in the ATL going forward if they want to make the playoffs. So Bucks and Falcons. Dennis, you sticking with your Bucks to win the division? Of course he is.
Of course he is, man. Come on, man.
Well, let's round out the NFC talk before we look at the broad picture of the playoffs here. And Lions should have lost to the Bears a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Bears make do yesterday. They come back and get them 28-13. 49ers beat the Seahawks 28-16 in an NFC West divisional matchup. Dennis, if you have the playoff picture of the NFC, if you can put it up there for us.
Lions are
now.
frauds.
Lions, they drop another one there, and again, to a pretty bad Bears team. Now they're up only 2 games on Minnesota for the division, so that actually could come down, and they play Minnesota twice the rest of the year. So if Minnesota wins both of those games, they're battling for the division. Who would have thought with the Detroit Lions? But let's take a look at this one up here, guys.
Look at that, 1st to 5th in 1 week. Look at in 1 day. Look at that.
There's a long season left. The Eagles with the easiest schedule. If the Eagles do win out, they will win the division because they will have the better conference record if they beat the Giants twice here out of the final 4 games. So it's going to be interesting going forward. Again, the Eagles control their fate for that division in the top seed potentially in the NFC. San Francisco's got some tough ones coming up. We'll see if they can round it out. They still have got Baltimore and the Rams, who aren't a terrible team to deal with. What do you guys think about this NFC playoff
We got
picture?
a real team, though.
And, Matt, look at on the bubble there. Do you see any of those teams leaping up into this playoff mix, or what are you thinking here, just looking at it as a whole?
I mean, I'm interested to see how Jordan Love continues. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
me
been
too.
playing really well.
I'm with you.
I'm not sure about him as a QB still, though. But, yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay can make it interesting. Minnesota amazingly continues to win games, so I don't want to count them out either. But, yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing right now, the only team that I could think that could come up with something might be the Rams. The Rams got a chance, I think.
Yeah, I think they could
got
get
some
in.
good pieces there.
I think they are the best of those teams on the bubble for sure there, Jason. What are your thoughts looking at that NFC playoff picture? And you're smiling. What do you got to say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I got a secret document I need.
No. No, honestly, I like the No, 1st to 5th in 1 game is wild. But honestly, out of that bunch, after playing them yesterday, the Rams.
Yeah, how about them? They could make a
The
who would have
Rams.
thought coming into the season? I mean, I joked about them having the worst defense in the last 10 years with those undrafted players and those guys coming into the season. Not a lot of hype. They were, again, projected to finish as a bottom 3 team, in the NFL. They're hanging around the playoff picture here, dealing with
Rams.
some injuries.
But I think that the Cowboys are actually going to end up with the number 1 seed somehow. Some way.
Wow.
I just it's weird. It's going to be something weird though. But they're unbeatable at home. They haven't lost a home game. I don't know how long. Like they're unbeatable at home, and they think they got a lot of home games on the back end. So I just think it's going to be between how it looks now. Like Dallas 1, San Fran 2. I think that's how it's going to stay. Honestly. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to end up that way. But one of those two probably flip-flopping. But, yeah, that's my prediction, NFC. And like I said, I think the Rams are going to end up getting in. And I think the Vikings won't have enough down the stretch to keep winning those games that they've been winning.
And I was going to ask you about Dallas has to go on the road, these next 2 guys. They got to go at Buffalo and at Miami. Those are 2 tough games over there in the AFC East. Their next 2, again, Eagles, Cowboys, have the same record as well as the 49ers. So I was going to ask you that, Jason. We talked about the Vikings. They're 2 games back of Detroit. Still some time to go. They played Detroit twice still the rest of the year.
They'll split, and Detroit still win the division.
Any chance Minnesota can win the division? And if he does, is Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year? I think he has to be if they somehow win it.
They don't win the division because I don't think Justin Jefferson's healthy enough to help them win the division.
They didn't need him
actually,
earlier.
He actually the game yesterday too. He came in
Ribs
early yesterday,
and
the ribs. So
Could be out day today.
that's my reason why I think down the stretch you need to have that signature guy you can go to close out a game. And if he's not healthy, they don't have a guy that can just, hey, give me the ball, I'm taking over.
Right.
And
I
that's
like
why
Detroit.
I think would be the Achilles heel down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I do like Detroit to hold on to win that division, but who would have
But-
thought
but-
Minnesota
but they're-
2 games back? Wow.
Detroit's gonna be a first round exit though.
Detroit first round
First round
exit?
exit.
Just like the Vikings last year. Vikings go 13-4, I believe, and
Yeah.
lose in the first
It's gonna be a
round.
first round exit either way.
And we'll see how they do. But things starting to tighten up there in that playoff picture in the NFC. Now let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture. Well, first, we'll recap what happened yesterday. Some crazy things going on in the AFC. And all starts with Jason's Rams. A walk-off punt return touchdown in overtime to remain the top
Ravens,
seed
yeah.
in the AFC. What a game that was yesterday against the Rams. We'll hear from Jason on that one. The Jets in the return of Zach Wilson take down the Texans
He said, hook 'em horns.
at MetLife. How about that?
Throw it
Stroud,
down.
though, had to leave the game. He's in concussion protocol. Bad news for Texans fans going forward. We'll hope that he's okay and probably hopefully can get back on the field this week. Joe Flacco, the Delaware Blue Hen product Super Bowl champion with the Ravens. You know, for somebody that got you guys a Super Bowl, I think you'd be a little more happy with
It's
Joe.
because he went to UD. It's nothing with the Ravens. It's this little hatred, that Bell State UD hatred. It's just, it's
man.
still there. Sorry. Still
I
there.
guess so, but Flacco, again, he's doing good things with the Browns.
Yes,
they brought
he
him in
is.
off the couch.
And we thank you, Joe Flacco. You still playing for us at the same time. You know, we appreciate you, good brother. You've given us a 3-game lead in the
That's
division.
right.
We appreciate you, good brother. Thank you.
311 yards, 3 touchdowns
sir.
for the former Super Bowl MVP. The Browns are now still maintaining that top wild card spot. Matt can't believe he won the Super Bowl MVP. But again, they're the top wild card spot with the Browns. Who would have thought that they lose Watson and they keep rolling? Another team that stay rolling. Surprisingly, they beat Jacksonville at Duval County last week. And then Jake Browning comes in and they do it again. The Bengals get another win. They beat the Colts, who were in
I just wanna
playoffs,
give a shout out.
34-14.
I want to give a shout out to. I want to give a shout out to the Bengals, to the Jets, and to the Bears. I appreciate y'all. Cashed out. Just want to say that. Thank you guys.
Shout out to Delaware Park Casino and Horse Racing Track. We'd love to do a show there every week if we can get a nice little.
Nah, I wouldn't leave.
gambling
It's all
track.
No.
Couldn't get us out of there. We talked about the Bengals. Jake Browning, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, guys. They somehow defense is playing better. They're still in the playoff hunt. We'll talk about them here in a second. And the big one yesterday, the Bills beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead 20-17. Third loss at Arrowhead already this year for Kansas City. Very unlike Patrick Mahomes and that team, but we're going to talk about the Kadarius Toney flag, where he was lined up offsides in the neutral zone offensively, negated the touchdown from Mahomes to Kelsey to Toney that would have given Kansas City the lead late in that ball game. Did not ask the official apparently where he was lined up, and if you played wide receiver at any level, high school, college, or in the NFL, that's something that you just do every single snap. He didn't do it, and they get the penalty. So now we'll take a look at the AFC playoff picture as a whole. Let's start with this Chiefs-Bills game. Guys, 1, did you agree with the penalty? And 2, now the Chiefs sitting at 8-5. Broncos just 1 game out for that division.
I just want to say right now that you see the Ravens on top. That's how it's going to stay. And the walk-off was great. Tylen Wallace in for injured Duvernay. He might take a Duvernay spot, kick return once he comes back. But look at that. The Broncos are going to win the AFC West.
Oh,
That's how messy the division is this year. You have Herbert, who just broke his finger. He's going to have surgery this week.
yeah, it cost me fantasy yesterday.
Yeah, he cost me fantasy.
I lost. The playoff
I
season was
just-
on the line. 1.8.
I see something in the Broncos. It's not hype. It's not. I don't know what it is. It's just they're winning games. Like they're literally stealing games right now, and you can't steal that many games in a row without it actually being something real. So I just think that they're going to continue to win. I think they'll end up like 11-6.
1-5 too to start. Can you imagine what a turnaround for Sean Payton and that Denver Broncos team out
It's
west?
the
And again,
defense.
just 1 game back.
It's
of
the
Kansas City.
it's the defense, and Russell's doing just enough to not throw the game away.
I think the best touchdown interception ratio in all of the NFL after having the worst last season. So a big difference from Russell Wilson last year to this year. And again, looking at the playoff picture, Matt, anything stand out to you? Who do you got maybe making this playoff run? It's going to get tight in here, these wild card spots in the AFC. You still got Denver, Cincy, and Houston on the outside looking in at Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Indianapolis.
Man, I mean, that's tough.
All three of those, I mean, it's anybody. And we got Buffalo sitting out as well at 7-6. You've got 6 teams at 7-6.
Yeah, 6 teams for 3 spots.
For 3 spots. And that's actually make it 7 if you count Cleveland because they're a game up at 8-5. So that's 7 teams for 3 spots, all within mostly a game of each other.
So I'm going to call it from right here. Let me see. Cleveland stays in. Steelers fall out.
I got the Steelers and the Colts falling out. The Colts could sneak in with Shane Steichen.
I think the Colts are going to sneak in.
Which would be crazy.
The Steelers are going to fall out, and you're probably going to have to replace the Steelers with Denver. You know what? Yeah. Okay. Take Steelers and Colts out and put in Denver and Buffalo.
Oh, there it is. And I was waiting for you to say it. I was waiting for you to say it.
I said Buffalo was going to make the playoffs.
I hope so. I'm with you. I'm all over Buffalo right now.
I trust Josh Allen more than I trust Jake Browning. And that's the only reason why I put the Bills in the playoffs.
Yeah, I still ain't trusting them.
But again, if C.J. Stroud were healthy yesterday, I would say it's Houston.
Right.
And we talked a couple weeks ago. I had Houston and Denver sliding up into the playoff picture alongside Cleveland. I thought a few weeks ago that the Steelers would have a chance. You cannot drop games to Arizona and New England. I mean, that's just, they're done now.
I was going to say,
you can't lose those 2 games.
I was in a bar in Boston, in New England, watching that game.
My goodness.
And that was like the most insane atmosphere.
It
was like, I really hate both teams.
I know. I got some friends over there too. It ain't pleasant.
But the fact that they beat the Steelers, it brought me much joy.
Ezekiel Elliott looked like he was at Ohio State.
Yeah, Zeke was eating again, a little bit. But that was 2-10, and you lose to them. Like, come on.
I'll tell you what, though, and we talked. This is going to be a fun AFC playoff conclusion, Matt, coming down the stretch here. Who are those teams you got getting in? Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Indy are sitting there right now. This is going to be tough. I got Pittsburgh and Indy coming out, as Jason talked about. Who are those teams that you maybe got sliding in that wild card?
I think Cleveland and Denver can slide in. I mean, Kansas City, look, they're on the ropes. I said that last week. I thought they're fighting. I just think Cleveland's defense is going to keep them in games. And Denver, look, something. I don't know if they're eating certain cereals or something, got magic horses or something. I don't know. Something's working.
What are they doing out there in Colorado?
Well, it's legal out there. It might be, they might be getting their spinach, if you will.
Hey, it's helping out. Whatever they're doing, they better keep doing it because they are playing good football right now. But I want to stick quickly. We'll talk about the call between the Chiefs and the Bills game now last night. And Matt, I'll start with you here. Do you think it should have been a flag? It was obviously Kansas City, a lot of complaining on social media, press conferences. If you didn't see, the first thing Mahomes said to Josh Allen when they met at the middle of the field was him complaining about that call. Which is, I mean, we haven't seen Mahomes act like this ever, not in his career. He has always said the right thing, done the right thing. We've never seen him this frustrated ever at any point in the NFL. Are you worried about Mahomes and the Chiefs yesterday?
I was worried about him before the game, but I mean,
and do you agree with the call too? I should say.
I do agree with the call, but I will say this: the NFL refs this year, and this is not just that game. This is across the board. They have been the most inconsistent.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of PIs, in terms of just calls in general. Anything. Yeah, anything that I've seen in a very long time. It's getting bad out there. I don't know. I know the NFL has a non-full-time policy. A lot of these guys are part-time. Well, they're looking like they're part-time. It's bad out there with some of these calls. And I'll say this, as far as Pat Mahomes and people looking at him and being like, and I hate to bring the show into this type of discussion, but I'll say this. I don't like how we have certain energy for certain other people. So like when Tom Brady's cussing people out, when some of these other Aaron Rodgers we've seen throw temper tantrums. When certain guys go crazy on the sidelines, it's passion. Then when it's certain other guys, it's, well, why is he not being professional? Why is he not keeping it together? I just don't like that. Like, keep the same energy. If you don't like how Pat Mahomes acted, and you have every right to believe that, then you should have had the same smoke for Tom Brady, who's for years cussed out people, for years have been manic on the sidelines, going crazy. And if you didn't say nothing and you thought that was passion, yeah, it's a little weird to me. That's all I'm saying. And look, Pat Mahomes definitely is frustrated. How could he not be? That situation there, other than Kelsey, they don't have anybody.
And he's not playing his best either.
No, he is not playing his best. And look, after Kelsey, it's probably what? Rice, the rookie?
Yeah, Rasheed Rice.
It's tough out there.
That's it.
And it's so crazy, too, right? Because we talked about it last year and coming into the season. Oh, he's got no weapons, et cetera. How will it affect him? And a lot of people were skeptical last year. But the fact is, we saw him do it. I know Kelsey was way better last year than he has been this year, and you could chalk it up to who knows what.
Taylor Swift.
You never know. Yeah. But and that's why we're so kind of almost stunned this year, is because we saw him do it last year with nobody on the team, which was crazy to see.
Stunned.
It was crazy to see him do that last year. But again, coming in this year, maybe not as much help as they did last year, but not too much of a difference, and it's been a way different efficiency-wise than last year in terms of stats and statistics for Mahomes.
You can't lose Tyreek Hill, and it works that great forever. Last year was an aberration.
I agree. I was very surprised.
You feel Hill's absence for sure this year.
Like, how good could they be if they kept him? They could
like
have been the best wide receiver quarterback duo of all time, potentially.
Like last year, they kind of were able to just keep the rolling, still most of the same players. This year, they had a lot of player turnover as well, too. We're not talking about that. Mm-hmm. And you don't have anyone to replicate any of that offense. No. Any of those guys. And the draft picks they have. So, also, let's really call it the elephant in the room. The Chiefs are similar to the Ravens. They have never, ever drafted well at the wide receiver spot. They only hit on Tyreek Hill.
And that could be an Andy Reid. Didn't draft well receiver with the Eagles. In a hole, he had a few guys there, and Deshaun Jackson, et cetera, but he's never been good.
That's what I'm saying. So,
agree.
This has been a Chiefs problem, though, since they had Dick Vermeil, any other coach they had, Marty Schottenheimer. They don't draft good wide receivers. They'll hit on a tight end because they hit on Tony Gonzalez. They hit on tight end. They get a running back every now and again. But now they're not hitting on running backs or wide receivers. But yesterday's loss was more about Isaiah Pacheco not playing.
That's right, yeah,
like the scheming, because he's in both. He's in the passing game and running game. That dynamic was missed yesterday. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire needs to hang the cleats up because he is garbage. I
think McKinnon may be their best option after what we saw him do last year down the stretch. I think he could be big for them going forward.
Yeah, and Sky Moore at this point. I mean, look.
What about Kadarius Toney? And Kadarius is one of my favorite guys, Florida Gator. But my goodness.
Exactly, he's a Gator. So
it seems like
I got to be honest.
He's doing something every week.
I got a serious question. Why does the NFL continue to sign Kadarius Toney? I mean, at this point, it's full.
He's getting contracts.
Yeah, he's never going to do anything.
Go ahead, touchdown the Super Bowl.
He's never going to do anything. He's never going to do anything.
Please stop.
He's never going to do anything. The guy can't stay healthy for more than a quarter. Kadarius, I don't know why he keeps getting chances because everybody keeps wanting him to be this guy that he was in college. It ain't happening.
He wasn't that guy in college. He wasn't.
First round pick. You're not a first round pick if you weren't.
He was a first round pick, but a wide receiver is hard to be a first round pick in college if you got people throwing the ball to you every time down the field. No. Sorry.
Well, all I know is he doo-doo. Him, Sky Moore, MVS, like all these guys need just and Justin Watson's I think the third best talent they got at catching the ball.
You're right too. And again, as you mentioned, I do like Rasheed Rice. I think he's going to be good going forward. But again, they are struggling in all facets of the offense. And again, the defense by far the best thing about this Chiefs team in 2023-24.
For sure.
And as we talked about a few weeks ago, maybe as if the Buffalo Bills had no life. Loving what I'm seeing out of Buffalo now. They're able to fight back. Huge, tough part of the schedule, and it gets even tougher. They got to go take on Dallas coming up this week. But there's still a chance they get into the playoffs. Buffalo plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl, guys. Plus 2,000.
Yeah, I ain't.
That's 50 to win $1,000.
I ain't going.
If you're thinking about it that way.
You gonna lose your $50.
I like those odds on Buffalo. I don't think anybody in the AFC is as good. Like Miami and Ravens, I think they could be better than them, but I don't think it's by much, not for those odds. So if you just
not by much.
If you like some futures, I'm just giving you a little Buffalo.
Nah, man, I'm good.
Buffalo Bills going forward. Look out for them. They're going to make a run. They get in, they're going to make a run. You want to be hot at the right time. If they get in, they're going to be hot.
Yeah, they still got Josh Allen.
And that's why. So we'll talk about that as we get to the playoff team. We'll see.
You're going to choke out.
We'll see.
He's a modern-day Brett Favre. He going to help his team score or help your team score. Either way, somebody going to score.
We'll find out in a couple weeks. But now, quickly as we wrap up football just for a second before we get into Monday Night Football, guys. Just want to get your reactions. We had our first ever NBA in-season tournament. We had heard the rumors about it over the summer, and, we all had questions coming in. What's it going to be like, et cetera, that we see the crazy courts. I think that's kind of appealing to the younger generation, if you will. But just let me start with you, Matt, here for this one. What do you think about this NBA in-season tournament? The Lakers get the championship. They wrap it up in Vegas on Saturday over the Pacers. Seemed like they had good ratings. Social media, they put a lot of money in the marketing and stuff like that. Seems like it's getting pretty decent feedback. What do you think of the NBA in-season tournament after year one?
Real quick, PSA to LeBron. Listen, this ain't going to count. This ain't going to count for a title, bro. Okay, I look. I see you with the champagne. We made history. It's not a title, bro. It's not a title. Calm down, bro. Okay, you ain't catching Kobe. You ain't catching Mike.
Ring 5, right? They give him a ring for that.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. And I heard they're gonna raise a banner at the Staples
no,
Center.
They're not.
I read that too.
That's what I read. That's what I read. And let me just say this: the NBA has done this because they have two problems going on. One, they're trying to entice Europe. Europe, in case people don't know, they have a lot of Euro League. They have a lot of
the Euro Cup.
Euro Cup. They have the Korak Cup. They have a couple of different cups. So they're really good at running tournaments like that. And then number two is the fact they're trying to motivate players to play hard in the beginning of the year. Which, look,
it's because of the low management situation.
I will give the NBA credit. They've seemed to have hit on both those things so far. But I'll say this. I don't think there will ever be a time in NBA history where people will run off and say, hey, this guy's in the Hall of Fame because he won 6 NBA season tournaments. Like, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Look, I could be wrong, sure, but look, the ring is still going to be the thing. And look, they can try to give rings, they can try to give banners. Look, at the end of the day, it's just a game.
Let me ask this, real quickly, and maybe I'm crazy for asking it. More meaningful championship, the bubble championship or this in-season tournament?
Bubble championship.
I should walk off this.
Still.
That's just how I feel about the bubble, though. Jason, thoughts on the in-season tournament?
I think the bubble championship was harder than most people give it credit for.
Nah, what are you doing? What are we doing?
I'm with Matt there. I thought it was.
Come on, man.
I thought it was really
only because
ridiculous.
of COVID, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Look, LeBron had been selling that title as the hardest title ever.
That was where he sat on the floor, right? He sat on the floor.
And people want to talk about Michael Jordan and the Last Dance doc. Just wait till LeBron gets. just wait. Just wait. I'm trying to tell you.
You know it's in the works already. It's got to be.
God,
so,
it's gotta be crazy.
So safe to say you're not a LeBron fan, right?
No, I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm not a LeBron hater. I'm just telling the truth about LeBron. Same way I do with Mike. Same way I do with the rest of all these other guys. Now, I will say this. The thing about LeBron that pisses me off more than most guys is I've never seen a guy that wants to tell you how great he is, as opposed to having people say, that guy's great. He's one of the few guys that he literally has press. And look, I get it. He wants to control the narrative because he's tired of seeing media control his narrative. I get it. But it's a little annoying. I don't need to be king, shut up, man. I don't care, bro. Like, yeah, you a GOAT. You one of the best of all time. You tier 1. You one of them guys. I give you full credit on that. But, bro, come on, man. Stop with this self-promotion, bro. I'm tired of hearing it, man. It's like Wilt Chamberlain back in his day. It's like, I'm tired of hearing about it, bro. Just look.
I'll say
just
this.
Enjoy yourself.
To wrap this NBA in-season tournament up, as a purist, can't stand it. I get what the NBA was trying to do, like you said, Matt, but as a purist, this is garbage. This is not college. This ain't Euro League. This ain't the NBL.
What do you think of the courts?
Hideous.
Courts were hurting my eyes, man.
The only thing I like about the in-season tournament, honestly, were the different variations of certain teams' uniforms. Other than that, because that black Lakers uniform, lovely. The white Celtics one, I've seen a couple other jerseys. The Sixers jersey with the red and terminal market logo one. Yeah. That was cool. But like other than the uniforms, it was garbage. And I agree with Matt. This in-season tournament, it's like getting a participation trophy. Like, what does this really do? Like, it's okay. Everybody got a trophy. Y'all in 5th place. Okay, you get a medal. You get a medal. You get a medal.
Yeah.
It's a paper championship.
Yeah.
And again,
it's like Kevin Durant's ring.
They can take a shot at you. And when you go back to it again, LeBron was named the in-season tournament first ever MVP.
Anthony Davis should have got that.
So congrats to LeBron. on that one.
Well,
But
maybe
again,
Austin Reeves, the way he caught fire in tournament.
And we talked about the incentive parts, and that's kind of the big deal of it right
500,000
now,
per
right?
player.
Exactly. And that's the only part of it right now is the financial part. The coach and the players, they all get a little bit of money, and that's it.
So
now
trash, man.
now they're talking about next year. And again, I don't think this will ever happen and might not even be in serious discussions, but they were saying, or at least that I was reading, was that they're saying the winner of this could get a playoff berth.
a guaranteed
playoff berth,
top
which
six.
to me would be absolutely insane. And I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm saying that's the kind of stuff that's being talked about. I just hope they keep it under wraps
Yeah,
and they
guaranteed
keep
top
it
six. I heard that.
as it is almost for now. Matt, what do you think
Look,
about
man, just bring back that real basketball, man. I'm tired of this stuff.
Play defense, then we can have a conversation.
Play defense, man.
Tyrese Halliburton had a good in-season term.
Tyrese
Halliburton is the real
guy.
MVP right now.
That's a fact.
All
He
right,
that
see,
guy.
that's a good reaction if we're mentioning Tyrese.
No,
I like that.
Tyrese Halliburton. This season in general right now. If the season ended today, I would give my MVP trophy to Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, I'm trying to
That's how
think.
good he's been playing this year. That's just me.
Is he?
He's
and
in-
his numbers might be better.
He's in the
than-
conversation this year. Right now, he's
I
in
say
the
Maxey
conversation.
and him got to be pretty close in numbers.
No,
I think
no,
Halliburton's
no.
probably got a little bit better numbers.
He's a way
than him.
better assist guy than
Yeah,
Tyrese Maxey.
he got like 12
Yeah,
assists.
he's
a
up.
game
He's
right now.
double digits. I know.
Double
What
digits
was
in both.
Maxey was at what 6'7",
I
7?
think Jokic might get the MVP again, man.
Nah, he
My
shouldn't.
God, I don't know if they can they do that.
He shouldn't.
Yeah.
He shouldn't.
Why not?
Move on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move on.
Because I could go with another half an hour about that. Please.
I will say he's the best player in the league right now.
He is the best player in the league.
I think it's Halliburton.
And let's go to the NFL. We got 2 Monday night games
Which is
to
dumb.
preview tonight. I don't like it either.
Camera, please.
And Jason, before I let you go into it, I do want to say this. And again, I'm not a fan of the 2 games. Would you prefer them to be staggered if you're doing 2 games?
Yes, stagger
thank you.
them.
Yes, thank you. I can't. They're starting 2 games at 8:15. Jason, give him the solo camera.
NFL, what in the Paul Tagliabue and Pete Rozelle is going on here? 2 games at 8 o'clock? What are we doing? We showing one on Prime? What are we doing? Which is the worst thing you ever did. Just cancel that contract with Prime now, by the way. So you're going to have 2 Monday night games this week, a Thursday night game, and then a whole slate on Saturday. What is this for? You're not about player safety when you do this. You're not about parity of the games, if you will. This is just a money grab. This is greed. Stop this madness. Please stop this. This is dumb. Stagger the games. You're going to have them. Have 1 at 7, 1 at 10 on the West Coast. But 2 8 o'clocks, this is asinine.
I'm with you.
Just-
I
just-
agree.
just-
Not a fan. I know people on the East Coast love to complain, it starts too late at 10 o'clock. It's not all about that. I mean, we're all here on the East Coast. I don't think it bugs me at all. I would love to have an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock kickoff. They used to do it back at 10:30, back when they used to kick off the season
Yeah.
on 2 Monday nights in a West Coast game. I don't understand it. I guess people on the East Coast are getting soft on us here a little bit earlier in the nights. But I can't believe they don't stagger them. And again, I'm just as shocked as you are for 2 games in one Monday.
It seems like New York's been soft ever since came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feelings. This ain't working, though.
Ain't working.
This ain't working.
Ain't working. We'll
No.
see if.
Like
Again,
that, don't you?
like
Like
you
that.
said, it's all money grab. I about to say, I didn't want to stop you there.
Like
Dropping bars.
Like that.
So let's jump right in now and talk about these Monday night games.
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans, guys, 4-8, going to travel to take on the Miami Dolphins with a win tonight. Miami will take that number 1 seed away from Jason McCall's Baltimore
Let's
Ravens.
go Titans. Run
So
Derrick
let's
Henry.
see what happens. Dolphins are playing at home for just the 2nd time in 42 days. They're 4-1 against the spread at home this year. The Titans not great on the road, 1-5 against the spread when they have to travel, and they don't do so well in Florida. They've been there twice already to Jacksonville and Tampa, and they've lost by a combined 54-20 as they get on a plane and head back to Florida, and this time Miami to take on the Dolphins. So Miami 13.5-point favorites, guys, in this game.
That's because 2 is Andy Dalton, but go ahead.
I don't-
Andy Dalton. Jason, I'm going to go right to you first because
I don't like
the
it.
city of Miami is undefeated.
It's undefeated, but it
And
might be defeated tonight.
Florida hasn't been kind to Tennessee. What do you think in this one?
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. That was a college reference. I see what you did there. That was good. I wouldn't take Miami with the points tonight. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at 13.5. I wouldn't do it. If the Titans can run the ball early and control the clock, the game doesn't get out of hand. And that's the recipe for Tennessee, is to run the ball and get some play action going. And, you know, I'm selfishly hoping that the Titans win tonight anyway. You know, I'm personally. But Miami wins the game, but I don't think it's a blowout.
Oh, so you got Miami winning the game, but not covering the 13.5. No. Matt, how do you feel about that one? Big favorites for Miami here at home tonight. No.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami. I think they'll get 13. I can see that. They'll get a couple bombs, then they'll blow it out, and then unfortunately, I think Tennessee can counter.
And again, after what we saw yesterday, Matt, the Eagles go down. Mahomes loses again. And something you mentioned on the show a few weeks ago, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Tyreek Hill should be the favorite to win the MVP.
He should be.
Let's get it going on this show and around the nation. He's got to be the MVP. Cheetah for MVP, I think, no doubt, as Matt called it out a few weeks ago. I think he's got to be the
Jerry
favorite.
Rice never got it. Yeah. That's the problem. Nobody.
If he can get 2,000 though, if he can get 2,000 yards, he's got to get it, right? Especially with the field this year. If he breaks the record.
You can make a case for Jerry Rice. You can make a case for Randy Moss. You can make a case for Megatron.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so many other wide receivers. You can make a case for Kelsey winning MVP. With his numbers 1 year at tight end were just insane.
Jimmy
Even
Grant,
Gronk.
too.
Jimmy Grant.
Touchdown machine. Gronk's number is insane as well.
You know what? I think Deron Bland should still get some
he should be in the top 5, I think. I think he should be in the top 5.
5 pick sixes, he should still. I think right now he's probably the defensive player of the year, unless you name his teammate defensive player of the year. Parsons.
I'm going Garrett.
Garrett.
Garrett, yeah, as well. But it's
those are top 3 to me. Like,
I agree.
Trophy. But I'm sorry, I digress. But yeah, the MVP needs to go to Tyreek Hill. It's just what it is.
I know, it took us off topic, but that's how we feel. I'm going to take the Dolphins laying the points here tonight. They're playing well. They beat up bad teams. I think this is another matchup between Dolphins and a bad team in Tennessee. It was not good, especially on the road. I'll take the Dolphins and the points. Another prop that I like for in that one, guys, one thing that I'm going to probably play tonight will be the Tua over passing yards. Titans really bad against the pass. Over 283.5 is what I'm going to take for Tua's over tonight in primetime.
Can I introduce maybe a wild thought here?
Yeah.
Will Levis looks better than Bryce Young, man. I hate saying that.
Yeah, because
I hate saying that because I was not a Will Levis believer. But man, Bryce Young, he don't look quality.
They gave up a lot to go get my man Bryce Young.
He look quality in there.
Again, we were a C.J. Stroud show.
Looking a little busty, I ain't gonna lie.
Achilles Smith?
Achilles Smith.
Yeah. He's looking a little Achilles Smithish, man.
And again, we'll see what the
He's
Panthers.
saying Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf, but he's looking Achilles
Smithish.
Brady Quinn, who knows?
Ooh.
Well, now
Tim
with that,
Couch?
guys, let's
Kentucky.
Man, we
same
can do
thing, same
this.
school.
There you
we
go.
Can do this.
There you go.
We can do this all night. Let's head to the over-unders here for tonight. You heard me on Tua. Matt, let's stick with Will Levis, 208.5 passing yards. What do you think tonight?
He'll go under.
Under for Will Levis.
Yeah.
Jason, now to pass completions. Tua, over-under 22.5 completions tonight. Over for Tua. Now let's go to rushing yards. Matt, Derrick Henry, 57.5 yards.
He'll get that.
Get it there. Devon Achane, 61.5. That number opened up at 55.5. Has climbed up 6 yards. He's got more than Raheem Mostert, who's set at 48.5. Jason, who are you going? Do you like the over between Achane or Mostert?
Over Mostert, under Achane.
There you go. There you have it then. Now let's head over to receiving yards and a guy that's going to get some looks out of the backfield for Tennessee, Matt, and that, of course, is Tajay Spears. 15.5 receiving yards. They could be down in this game.
Bro. He's been killing me in fantasy. No.
I think if they go down, they might throw him a few passes. It's a short over under 15.5 yards, Matt. What do you think?
Nothing all season.
No, I'm good.
You staying under?
Hey, just a real quick statistical fact. Guess who the Titans' number 3 wideout is in yards? Ryan Tannehill.
Take the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, he should play wide receiver game. Can't do that in the quarterback anymore.
We'll wrap this one up here with over-under receiving yards.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about rushing. My bad.
All right, well, it doesn't surprise me.
It's surprising. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either one. I don't know. I couldn't tell you who started in receiving. It might be a Keenan Westbrook, one of those guys, like 4 catches. Who knows who with that receiving line is like.
Man, they got to get him
That's
going,
right, Okonkwo.
man.
Yeah, get him the ball going.
What's his name?
Okonkwo. Chigoziem Okonkwo?
Look at
you. Look at you.
Somebody been in those speech diction classes.
Did you
I'm
eat
the
some
St.
Jollof
Mark's
rice?
high school record holder for fastest words in a minute. I forget what it is or something
Eat
like
some
that.
Jollof rice, man. You getting them words, them names out?
Pronunciate. Well, let's
Has
keep it
ginger
going.
beer in his life. Look at it.
Tyreek Hill, 112.5, Jason, over under.
Over.
Let's jump to the other one quickly and wrap it up here. on a Monday. Green Bay Packers 6-6, traveling to take on Tommy DeVito, living with his parents.
Danny DeVito.
And imagine Danny DeVito playing quarterback. That'd be something. Yeah. As the Giants 4-8 on the year. Giants are coming off a bye week and off a couple games where they played better. Matt LaFleur 16-0 in December since being hired by the Green Bay Packers. What do you guys think of this one? The Packers line was opened at 5.5. It's been bet up to 7. That's where it stands right now. Jason, Packers -7 on the road at the Giants? No.
It's Tommy DeVito over here.
It's DeVito time.
DeVito
over
chicken
here.
cutlets.
It's DeVito over here.
It's much. DeVito, man.
So to cover, are they going to win this game?
They gonna win the game.
They're going to win the game. Jason taking the money line. Matt, how do you feel?
Win the game.
I'm going with the Giants too, man.
To win the
Upset.
game.
Upset.
Tommy DeVito.
Upset.
Give me the Packers to win the game.
I hate saying the Giants gonna win, but they're gonna win tonight.
And I'm going to take the Packers in this one, guys. But let's talk about anytime touchdowns. You can go back to the first game or this second game, whatever you're feeling. Maybe one of each if you're feeling really good. I kept the streak going last week with the Jamar Chase play. He ends up getting into the end zone, so I'm going to try to keep it going again today. And I'm going to go with Raheem the Dream Mostert as anytime touchdown. I think he's going to get in. I think they're really kind of dissing him on the yards there, set at 45.5. He leads the NFL in touchdowns. He is behind Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane in the odds to score a touchdown today. So I'll take the plus 100 and the plus money and Raheem Mostert to get in the end zone today. Guys, what do you guys
How
feeling?
many touchdowns Hurts got this year?
Rushing?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. 6 maybe?
I'm gonna
6 or
go. My anytime touchdown is gonna be Saquon Barkley, man.
I go with say, yeah, I like that.
7. Saquon Barkley. Man, what do you think?
I'm gonna do Wandale Robinson, man.
Wandale, that's some good money
Okay.
there. Yeah,
There
get the
you
good
go.
money going.
Yeah.
Give me Wandale Robinson, man. Pride of Kentucky, man. We're gonna stay on that Tim Couch theme, man. That's what we doing.
Jalen Hurts, oh my goodness. Yeah, you're right, man. He's got 12 touchdowns rushing on the
Okay,
ground
yeah,
this
I
year. I
better
think
say.
Mostert's up at around 14
Because
or
they
15.
keep doing that cheating play with it.
When you putting your hands in somebody's behind.
Hands of somebody.
Yeah.
That's the real brotherly love.
Yeah, it's too brotherly for me.
I'm going to take the Packers as we talked about.
Whoa. Pause.
Take the Packers?
No, man.
All right, closing words as we go around the table here for 1A. Jason, let's start with you.
I mean, it's what it is. We in first place. We're going to stay there. Festivus Maximus 3. Baltimore, y'all know what that means. Super Bowl in Latin. We'll see y'all in Las Vegas. You're welcome.
All right, just for me quickly, Matt, I'm going to say Eagles drop one on Sunday. Easiest schedule going forward for the final 4 weeks. I think they win out. They win the division. I think they grab the top seed in the NFC as the Niners, I think, will drop one of the next 4 as we head into the playoffs.
You'll be playing
Matt,
all
what do you
Madden,
think?
ain't you?
I need to. It's been a minute.
I'm going to give some special love to my man, Tabby Bonet. We got you all in our pocket, don't we?
Put you in the pocket.
Got you in the pocket. That's what we got. We got the Eagles in the pocket, dog. That's what we got you.
It's going to be a fun playoff, so make sure you tune into DETV for all of it because we'll be talking about it. Niners and Ravens, they're sitting pretty as we head to the playoffs. Eagles,
Sitting
gotta
real
get
pretty.
going. And again,
Drinking
you
them
heard it here
tears.
first. Buffalo to win the AFC. Check out those odds.
I think
as
we ain't
well.
done yet. Hit it with the Marcus Peters.
Well, for Jason, Matt, myself, and Dennis behind the glass, we will see you next Monday. Some big ones coming up this weekend. We'll see how the playoff picture looks next
Go
week.
Birds.